So this weekend, we're all in an absolute frenzy over Jon Jones' return against Ciryl Gane at UFC 285. I mean, why wouldn't we? Jon Jones is one of the greatest fighters of all time, and he's going up against a very fast and agile Ciryl Gane in a weight class that he's never competed in before. This entire card is absolutely stacked from top to bottom, and there are some fighters on this card that you've probably never ever heard of before, and I think that's kind of planned here from the UFC. They're taking Jon Jones' hype that he obviously has and rightfully deserves, and a great co-main event in Valentina Shevchenko there to really highlight these fighters that are up and coming within the organization. It's absolutely crazy to me that the top end of this card is getting so much attention when there is a whole heap of talent at the lower end of the card that I believe is going to be the next stars within the UFC over the next 1 to 2 years and leading into the future of the organization. But I mean, it does make sense. Jon Jones is undefeated. He's probably one of the most talented and skillful fighters that we've ever seen compete inside the octagon, and we might ever see again. People are going to be saying that this is one that topped Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev, just because that card similarly had a lot of fighters on the card that were relatively unknown but put on fantastic performances, which is going to lead into the next generation of fighters within the business. So first off, we've got Bo Nickal, who's a college wrestler. Nickal's a 3-time NCAA champion. So with Bo Nickal, he recently competed on Dana White's Contender Series and absolutely walked through all of the competition that Dana White set in front of him. He definitely showed within those fights that his wrestling is not to be messed with in any way. It is at an extremely high level, and it's going to be fantastic for the division. He's incredibly fast when he shoots for the single or the double leg takedown. It can really catch a lot of people by surprise. And what he's also shown, which has been incredibly impressive to me, is his ability to work off his back, being able to transition into some beautiful chokes and jiu-jitsu ground control, which he has on top of his wrestling skills, it seems like. Now with this fight, I think the UFC is setting up this guy, Jamie, whatever his name is. I don't even know who this guy is. I have no idea. I'm going to be completely honest. I've never even seen one of his fights. I don't even know what he's good at. I don't even know what he's bad at. I looked at his record at 16-8. He's relatively unknown. His competition is, relatively unknown as well. They see Bo Nickal as a future champion and star of the division. So why am I going to pick Bo Nickal to absolutely dominate this fight when I don't even know who this other guy is? Because the UFC isn't stupid. They're not going to put Bo Nickal against someone that can derail the hype train before it even potentially starts. They want to put him up against someone that has some skills so that he gets the attention that he deserves and they're able to build him as the next star. In his last fight, he transitioned from the takedown to the triangle to the back like it was a 4-step instructional manual. It was absolutely incredible to watch. It was like the other guy was showing no resistance whatsoever. And another aspect of his game that might surprise everyone is he grew up throughout his youth actually boxing as well. So he's not just a fantastic wrestler with great wrestling credentials, he actually knows how to stand and bang as well, although we haven't actually seen a lot of that yet. I doubt he's going to have extremely high level striking when we actually see him unleash on people, but the way that he's able to punch and grab a hold of his opponent to transition to the wrestling is quite impressive and super, super fast. He's going to be absolutely dangerous and a nightmare for anyone in that division. And I can't wait to see him make his debut on UFC 285. Now, unfortunately for Bo Nickal's opponent, the UFC always does this to build their new stars, gives them an opponent that they're most likely going to dominate against. When you look at it from a business perspective, they want to capitalize on fighters that have great skills. And I think that's what we're going to see. I advise everyone to just sit back and enjoy the Bo Nickal show. It's going to be absolutely fantastic to see him on a pay-per-view card. So next up, we've got Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's facing off against Geoff Neal. Now, his opponent isn't going to be as easy to get through as what I think Bo Nickal's opponent will be. I know that sounds a bit silly, me not watching him. Shavkat is a very well-rounded fighter. It's wild to me that Shavkat isn't a more popular fighter than what he actually is, because he's extremely skilled. I know Khamzat Chimaev has a lot of hype, but I think this guy's at or surpassed his level in regards to his overall skills. He's also a fantastic wrestler. Much like you see Khamzat just take people down and dominate people, I think he's even better. And on top of that, his striking is absolutely insane. The way he transitions between strikes to the takedowns to the ground and pound is something phenomenal to witness. And this is going to be one of the better fights of the card. Make no mistake. Not necessarily the better fight, but one of the most impressive performances on the card. Now with Geoff Neal's last opponents, he did put off a good showing against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, albeit he didn't actually get the win there. And he also got a win against Vincent Luque, who's a very skilled martial artist as well. He's not a great fighter. He's not a bad fighter. They've just sort of set him up as well against Shavkat to lose this fight. I hate to say it. Hopefully it's a bit of a better fight. He said he's going going to, shock the world here because he knows he's expected to lose. But let's just see how he does. I think Shavkat's going to put on a dominant win here. I hope you guys really enjoy watching this Shavkat from Russia absolutely dominate and just getting a good look at him. It's really great to see these fighters get on a pay-per-view card. It's when their star starts to shine. Now, the next fight, we've got Alexa Grasso, who's won her last 4 fights. She's 4 in a row. She's obviously a really good fighter too, but she's facing off against Valentina Shevchenko, who needs no introduction. What can I say about this fight? I think Valentina is going to be too much for her here. Alexa Grasso, she's not even on that level, but who else have we got for Valentina? She's walking through everybody at her division. Maybe after this fight, she can move up in weight and face off against Amanda Nunes again, but we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to a clinic by Valentina. She's great on her feet. She's a great wrestler, and she's an all-round fantastic mixed martial artist here. Who do you guys think is going to win this one? I know Alexa Grasso's done great lately, but I just don't see her beating Valentina here. Who knows? We have seen Amanda Nunes get upsetted before. This could be one of those scenarios, but I just don't think so. I think Valentina is going to win this one and win it pretty handily. And the big one up next, Jon Jones versus Ciryl Gane. I'm really pumped for this fight, guys. I'm really pumped to see Jon Jones return to the octagon. A 3-year layoff against Ciryl Gane, who's extremely fast, very agile and great on his feet, comes at you from weird angles, and he's got some ground game as well. I was seeing him heel hook people, which is fantastic to see. But Jon Jones, obviously there's some big questions surrounding him. A 3-year layoff. He had his weigh-in with Ciryl Gane. He looked like he did put on a bit of size, but necessarily the size you want, Obviously he had a bit more body fat there. Doesn't necessarily mean much. He still looked in fantastic shape. Maybe it'll actually work within his favor, not cutting all that weight. He probably feels very strong. We'll see how fast he is. I think Ciryl Gane's going to be a bit faster on the feet, and that's where he's going to be able to win the fight. Jon Jones, 3 years off. I've noticed over the last few years, I don't think anyone can deny that he is sort of on the decline a bit. He's getting a little bit older. But in saying that, I just don't think it's going to make much of a difference. He's so talented. His elbows that he throws at you from distance. People get this range on Jon Jones, and they think, they're not within, striking distance of a punch or even an elbow. But the way he just shoots in and closes that distance with his spinning elbows is fantastic to see. I reckon Jon Jones has one of the best elbows in the game. His striking is good. Now, his footwork necessarily isn't fantastic. I think Ciryl Gane's footwork is much better than Jon Jones, the way he pops in and out. But you've noticed that Jon Jones, he sort of straightens out his hands. He uses his hand to measure that range. And I think Jon Jones is going to come out pretty calm, just suss out Ciryl Gane's strengths, and then he's going to basically get his timing and go to work from there, shoot in some takedowns, and that's where I think he's going to win the fight. I don't see Jon dominating Ciryl on the feet. While it is on the feet, Ciryl Gane might hit him with some good strikes, and that's where Jon has to be careful, because Ciryl Gane definitely has knockout power, as everyone tends to do at heavyweight. Everyone in that division can knock you senseless. So Jon's going to have to be very careful not to get caught while he's figuring out Ciryl Gane's timing and those sorts of things, as then he goes to work later on in the fight. So I think Jon Jones is going to win this fight via ground and pound, submission, or decision. If I was to pick a most likely scenario, I would say he's going to win by ground and pound. You've noticed how Jon Jones, how he sits in people's half guards, and he's happy to just sit in that position, play around with some grappling, threaten some chokes, and then he just lands some vicious punches, some vicious elbows from the top. And I've seen him get many, many wins like this. But is it going to be the Jon Jones we're all used to? I hope so. He was saying that he was a little bit demotivated in his last few fights at light heavyweight. Fighting fighters are relatively unknown. So going into heavyweight, there being some big names there, like Ciryl Gane and obviously Stipe Miocic, who's waiting in the wings. I believe he's going to get the winner of this fight. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out. Ciryl Gane can absolutely shock the world here. But when you look at Jon Jones as an opponent, the people that he's beat, the youngest UFC champion in history, the fact that over the last 12 years, he's only competed in title fights as well. He just is that good, guys. So I'm going to have to go for Jon Jones within this fight. I think the whole card is shaping up to be fantastic. I'm going to tune in tomorrow. I might even do a live stream on this, because this is going to be absolutely fantastic. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stream the fight, but you'll be able to see my reactions within that and what I think of the contest and a bit of a breakdown of what I'm watching as well. So guys, I'm absolutely pumped. What do you think of these matches at UFC 285? Who have you picked? Let me know in the comments section below. I'm really, really pumped for these fights, and I'll see you guys later. All right, take care.